Well, welcome back to another episode of Grieving and Growing. I am your host, Lakeisha Rawls, and I'm joined by your beautiful co host, Mrs. Denisha Rawls Smith. And I'm excited today because we also have a guest with us, Mr. Robert Dantzler. Hey, Rob, welcome to the show.
Hey, ladies.
Listen, we've known Rob for a long time. I'm not going to tell you how long, you don't even know all of that. But what you should know is that Rob is out and about doing great things in the community. And so we talked about when we launched this podcast, we wanted to be able to provide resources and insights, not only from our experience, but also from those out doing the work. And so Rob is one of our guests who has been really focused on providing knowledge to the community. And so let me just tell you a little bit about him. Just Smart Solutions was founded by Rob Dantzler, an English teacher in 2002, with the goal of providing affordable and reliable resources to families in the communities he taught. Financial literacy and wealth building has always been a commitment of his, and he quickly learned that life insurance is not just a policy, it's a legacy. In August of 2022, now a school administrator, he became a part-time field agent with TRS Insurance Company to continue to assist families with safeguarding their futures, preserving assets, and leaving a lasting impact on the families and communities he serves. His goal is to educate, empower, and ensure that you have the knowledge and coverage necessary to protect your family dreams and aspirations. Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm just blown away by all that you're doing with Just Smart Solutions, Rob.
Oh, thank you so much. Y'all really make that sound good.
That is good. That is
It
good.
is good. Right.
So listen, we're excited to hear more, but how you been? How you been
Oh,
doing?
I've been excellent. It has been a journey, but I'm glad to be here today with you all. I miss y'all.
I miss you
We
too.
miss you too.
Yes. So listen, before we get into talking about Just Smart Solutions, we have some kind of questions for you that my sister's going to kick off, that we do with all of our guests on Grieving and Growing podcast. So I'll hand it over to you, sis.
Thank you. And thank you for being here, Mr. Dantzler.
Mr. Ben.
So I want to ask you, this is something we ask all of our guests. When was the first time you've experienced grief?
Okay. Well, I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan, as y'all know. So when I speak about this, you're going to hear me refer to as home because I live down in Houston now.
Yeah.
So back home, growing up in Detroit, I spent a lot of time with my grandfathers, both on my mom's side and my dad's side. So the very first experience was with my grandfather on my mom's side. And I would think he passed away when I was in 10th grade. I didn't, although I spent a lot of time with him, by the time I was old enough to actually have a real conversation with him, he had already had a stroke that prevented him from speaking early on, probably when I was in somewhere around 11th grade. I mean, not 11th grade, elementary school, somewhere like that. Mm-hmm. So when I speak of him, it's in a perspective of, I really wish I could have known more about him. So when he passed, I felt kind of unsettled. So I took that energy and I put it into getting to know my grandfather on my dad's side. And he lived with us for a nice amount of time growing up. He had also had a stroke, which prevented him from moving around as best as he could. Mm-hmm. So we did a lot of work together. He did a lot of masonry work. So it was cool to learn all of that stuff with him. Communicating with him about life stuff that was going on with me all of this time that we spent together. You go down our block and you can see sod that we laid together, sidewalks that we paved,
Wow.
uh, stairs that we put in, cement stairs, fences that we built together. You know, that was my experience with him. So it was a lot of really good times. So, as you know, spending so much time with somebody, it
Mhm.
can be often unbearable when they pass away, no matter if you see it coming or not. It was just an all of a sudden experience for me because that was my heart. And when he left, it was like he did something to me. Like you you left me,
Right.
Yeah.
like not just,
Person.
yeah, personally, you just left me by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt angry. I felt disappointed. I was withdrawn. I mean, I remember not going anywhere. Uh, he passed somewhere around. It was something special going on with in high school that I remember just not really getting into,
Hmm.
and that was took an emotional toll, I think, on me. No matter how it was, you know, I just remember, you know, just that really down feeling.
Yeah.
I don't want to use any medical terms like depression and all of that stuff because, you know, I just being authentic in how I felt at that time.
Yeah.
I was just feeling really alone.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and it was now that I speak about it, it was those two grandparents and my godfather.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
He lived two doors down from me, and he did a lot for me after my grandfather had passed away too. So he taught me all about cars, and Keisha know I'm a big car guy. And he always said he wanted to pass away in his sleep growing up. And lo and behold, one summer, my godmother come knocking at my door, and she is frantic. And I go down there, and I just got certified for CPR. And I performed CPR on him for about 20 minutes until the ambulance came.
Yeah.
And if you all watch ER, that's how old we are. ER, I think the young people have Grey's Anatomy and
Yeah.
all these other
Yeah.
shows. But I'm thinking ambulance is gonna come, they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna hook them up to the EKG machine,
That's
zap,
right.
back to life, and good to go. And the EMS worker never did any of that.
Mm.
And I was just angry. I don't think I swear at the man, but I may have.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, you supposed to shock him
Shocking.
back to life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's why you here.
Right.
Hmm.
I did
Right.
the compressions. I
Mm-hmm.
did the breaths.
Mm-hmm.
Bring my godfather back.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Hmm.
And he was like, it's too late. He's gone.
Mm.
There's nothing else we can do. And it was at that time the rationale hadn't kicked in that there's no electricity running through his body to bring back.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He had passed in his sleep,
Mm-hmm.
and all the symptoms were there. If y'all know anything about death
Oh yeah. Hmm.
and what happens to the body,
Mm-hmm.
just naturally.
Hmm.
So I was just again feeling alone and angry,
Hmm.
and just I started that whole withdrawal thing again. And fortunately, I had some good people around me that were there to support me. But yeah, those are my three big memorable experiences with death that mm,
Yeah. And you're kind of leading into it, but how are you growing? You mentioned having people around you, but what other things are you doing that's helping you grow through your grief?
So I'm glad you said that, because there were a lot of things that they left with me that I wish I would have able to show them the fruits of their labor.
Yeah.
You know, communication was one of the things I learned from them, to be able to just talk about what's going on with me, with my kids, because a lot of us adults don't understand, us parents don't understand that even though we think we are hiding these things or shielding these our feelings from our children, they know,
Oh, they
they
do.
are connected to us. And if we don't share with them our pain, they're going to feel it and not know how to handle it. And then we're wondering why our children are exhibiting certain behaviors. And they know, we'll say, well, this didn't happen to me. Why are you acting like this? But they don't know what's happened because we haven't broken it down to them.
Oh, so good, Rob.
So that was one of the biggest things that I got from them, just the communication piece and being around more for my kids. I love my dad to the fullest. He was the provider. He made sure we were fed, clothed, and taken care of. But it was still a piece missing, and that was just that time. And I talked with him a while back, and he had brought that up. He said, I wish I was able to spend as much time with you as you do with your kids. And that,
oh yeah, that's a
man,
heartstring puller right there. Oh yeah.
woo, when I tell you, because my dad has never told me he loved me, but he'll tell his grandkids. And it's just amusing now.
Yeah.
Just know the kind of man he is. And it's just so amusing, because I sneak one in like, hey dad, I love you. He's like, all right, boy.
But them great grandbabies get it all.
They get it all.
Everything. But yeah, I deal with it in that way, just through my kids and my friendships. You always have a core group that's going to be with you through thick and thin. You can call up, and I tell my students, I'm like, y'all need to find a good core group of friends that's going to keep you out of trouble, not in trouble.
Absolutely.
And have some adults around you too that's going to help you through problems, not continue to bring problems to you.
Yes.
That's good.
That's really good. Gems, Mr. Dantzler. Listen, we are so just honored that you're sharing your story with us. I mean, for me, I've known you a long time, but I didn't know that you knew how to do fencing and laying bricks and sidewalks.
Putting in lawns.
Yeah, putting in lawns. That's phenomenal.
Some of those things are partnerships.
Yeah. So
I need a partner.
Yeah, I hear you.
I hear you. But what I'm hearing is it's just consistency. You have been giving in the community. That didn't start when you became a member of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. That started back in your childhood, and you're continuing to do that through Just Smart Solutions. So listen, tell us a little bit about Just Smart Solutions and the different services that you all provide.
Yes, absolutely. It did not start just when I became a member of Phi Beta Sigma. It wasn't truly ingrained in me. And when I got to college, I wanted to do more. And that's always been my thing, to do more. So after college, well, actually in college, I was also tutoring. And that was really the springboard into this particular business of Just Smart Solutions. It started out as a tutoring company. And then when I graduated and moved back to Detroit, I continued tutoring. And and then I took a break to raise my kids for a while, and I broke off into athletic training and started an AAU program with some other partners down here over in Missouri City. And my son played with them. and we provided some trainings for other kids in my at my school community and across the city of Houston. So from there, we springboarded again, because that's the thing about, being an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
We have to continue to grow and not get stuck into one frame of thinking. And I don't think it's just being an entrepreneur, just being business minded. We can't get stuck in one stream where we get comfortable. There's a quote that we have at my job. It says, see a need, fill a need.
Yeah.
And I saw another need somewhere between 2015 and 2020. My dad lost 3 of his brothers, my uncles, and you all know the theme that we have when death comes about. How are we going to pay for it?
Right.
Some people know the insurance information, a lot of us don't. Some people know where the will is, a lot of us don't. Some people know how much is going here, there, and everywhere, but a lot of us don't. And my dad had to pay for his brother's funerals because no one knew anything. And I just saw him very stern and strict, and they just like, they waiting to look for this, or they waiting for this. I got to get my brother settled in peace. And he's like, I just pay for it. When y'all get it together, then y'all pay me back or whatever, but we don't have time for this. In our communities, we don't sit our bodies.
Right. You're right.
And we want to put them at peace.
Yeah.
So watching my dad deal with that was really like the emphasis to say, stop just talking about family planning and financial awareness. Let's be about it. So that was when I started my coursework and becoming a licensed insurance agent to provide for more families. And if I don't do anything, if I don't ever sell a policy again, I will always be a conduit of information.
Oh, yes.
I absolutely love how you phrase that, because I think knowledge is what we lack the most, right? We all know someone or have someone who didn't have a policy. So you got to do the GoFundMe, or we contributed to the GoFundMes. And
yes,
I remember when you did your launch and you told that story, that really hit home with me personally. We were lucky in the sense that my grandfather had a policy for my grandmother, but I do recall her paying into a lot of life insurance policies that didn't necessarily exist when she passed away. And when I attended your launch, you talked about, the different costs of insurance and the different types of coverages that are available, and, the differences between term and whole life insurance. Those are things I never knew about. I never really had a lot of knowledge about. And so I'm just happy to have you on. And just for our audience, we're going to do a little bit something different this time around, where Rob has prepared some information that he's going to actually present out to you all. And so I'm just going to hand it over to you, sir, to kind of walk through your presentation and educate all of us on what we need to know. What's the basics with life insurance?
All right. We're in business. Can you all see?
We're in business.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So Chosen Agency is the partnership that I have, and our vision is to instill courage to unleash freedom in people's lives. So when we go through this, I'll tell you like my pastor say, if you stick with me, I'll get you out of here. Okay. So I'm gonna have some questions that I'll probably ask. Y'all just follow along with me. Okay. So the first policy is a term policy. And the example here is, we have a young lady here who's 35 years old and wants a $500,000 policy. How much do you think per month this policy is probably going to be?
300.
All right.
Look, I said 300, you said 50.
Well, I'm hoping it's not 300. That's a lot.
All right. So it's actually for a policy for this particular age group for this young lady would be for a term policy will be for 30 years at $50 a month. And if the lady passes in the next 30 years, her family gets the whole $500,000. But if the lady doesn't pass during that 30-year period, what happens to the policy? Y'all have an idea?
You lose it. It doesn't exist anymore. And I learned that from your kickoff. So
So I was not going to say that. I
No.
was going to say that she would have an opportunity to continue the policy, or she would get the money paid into it back, maybe, or losing it never crossed my mind that she would lose it.
Yeah, and that's a lot of misconceptions with term policies. For me, this is an excellent type of policy for someone that is either older, meaning like over 60, or but it's going to cost more the later in age that you get, or someone younger just getting into their jobs and just want to have something to make sure that to protect themselves and their families. So we're going to keep going.
okay.
All right. The next type of policy is the ROP. We have the same lady who has the $500,000 policy. The ROP, which is called return of premium policy, has some similarities to term, but there's a few variations. If the lady passes in the next 30 years, her family will get the whole $500,000. The difference with the ROP is it is usually double or triple the price. So that $50 policy would end up being about $150 a month. Okay. And if the lady doesn't die within 30 years, she'll lose that money, but she does get some back. She'll get a full refund of everything that she had paid in.
Oh, wow. So that sounds like, I mean, just outside looking in, that sounds like the better option to me.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So the disadvantage is, although it does expire 30 years later, she gets her refund of all the premiums that she paid, but she is no longer insured. And now, if she's 65 years old, she may not qualify for another policy due to her health conditions. But if she does qualify, it'll probably a whole lot more expensive to pay for.
Okay, got it.
And the next policy is the permanent policy.
Okay.
All right. Our permanent policy is called our, let's say, this is like the Lamborghini version. If we have two cars, we have a Toyota Corolla, that will be the ROP. The term will be like a Toyota Corolla. The ROP will be like the Lexus. And this permanent policy will be like our Ferrari. Okay. All right. So, because it has three main qualities that are beneficial. If this the death benefit is one. The death benefit is permanent, meaning that it never expires. If the client passes away at 50, 60, or 100, it doesn't matter. They're guaranteed that amount of money to their beneficiaries. The second piece is what I was super excited when I found out about: living benefits. I had no idea that there were living benefits to insurance policies. Okay. And the living benefits is in reference to, well, I'll ask y'all this question. What do y'all think is the number one cause for bankruptcy in America?
I would say, oh, go ahead, sister.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
I just, as I've been on this journey with grieving and growing, I've come across statistics that talk about the devastation that the spouses who are left behind after someone passes, that loss, creating bankruptcy, and then I think just unexpected loss of your job is what I would think would be the number
That was,
one causes: loss of job and loss of a spouse.
yeah, that loss of income. That's what that was going to be my initial, the sudden loss of income, because a lot of us don't have anything saved up.
Yeah.
We're living from check to check. We're 6-figure, sometimes 7-figure households, but the expenses are outweighing the income. And so that sudden loss of income puts you instantly at a deficit.
Yep.
That was going to be my thought.
Absolutely. You're both right on the right track. The number one cause for bankruptcy is actually medical bills. Bills in general, you can say. With living benefits, if a client becomes critically, chronically, or terminally ill, for example, if they have a heart attack, stroke, or cancer, or something like that, that young lady can still access portions of the $500,000 to pay for those costs while she is still alive.
Wow.
So that's the living benefit of it. And it doesn't extend to just those particular costs. Your kids going to college, buying your first house, all of those things. There's not really any stipulations behind what you use that money for. And the last piece is the cash value. Think about it like real estate. You know how to buy a house, and over 30 years, it gains value. And sometimes that value goes up. Sometimes the equity will go down. Our policy works the same way. Obviously, the client is going to pay a little more because it's the Ferrari. But let's say she has put it in $300 a month over 300 years. She'll get all of those premiums back, plus the equity and the interest. And that interest is actually tax-free.
Wow.
So that's
$300 a month over 30 years.
For a $500,000 policy.
Yep.
And the interest that you earn on the cash value is tax-free.
Right. So you get double, you kind of get more bang for your buck.
Right. And you have a death benefit, a living benefit with that one.
Yeah.
I'm liking the Ferrari.
I'm liking the Ferrari too.
Most people do. All right. And this next slide has a few other options, like this section here. Can y'all see my pointer?
Yes. Under the how we help.
Okay. So as insurance agents, and this is all insurance agents, and a lot of people miss out on this information, like y'all said, when that insurance agent was coming to your grandmother's house. Every year, they should have been discussing all of these pieces of information. If there's any updates that you need to make, any family and life changes, we can assist with long-term care, annuities, mortgage protection, burial, and the infinite banking has become really popular lately. Over here, in this section here, these are some of the major insurance carriers that I'm with. So the difference between myself and I won't name any other particular companies is that I'm able to get check coverages from all different carriers, as opposed to just being stuck with one. And if you don't qualify with that particular company, then you're kind of left out in the cold. So if you have a particular company that you're used to, like I had a client a few weeks ago that previous policy that she allowed to lapse was with AIG. And if she wants to go back to them and start a new policy again, I have options to do that.
Okay.
That's good to know.
Yeah. So down here, we have index funds. So you wonder how your money rises and falls. So in that permanent policy, what they do is a portion of your money will be invested just like the bank does, but the only difference is your bank only gives you 0.01% interest on the money that you put in there.
Mm-hmm.
When you get an index universal life policy, that kind of puts your money into a safety zone where your money doesn't lose if the market loses, because it continues to be invested in the top companies. So it becomes more safe, and so there's less volatility.
Mm.
Underneath that, we talked about earlier the GoFundMe's.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many GoFundMe's out there. If you just Google, fundraising, death
So true.
for death tragedies or for a funeral, you'll get thousands upon thousands of people that are looking to raise money to bury their loved one.
Mm-hmm.
And over here, we talked again about the 3 different ways to cover that 35-year-old female for a $500,000 a term, the ROP, and the permanent policy.
Mm-hmm.
And this next slide is just some more information in regards to annuities, pitfalls that Americans have fallen into, and just not understanding that we are going to have pitfalls in life.
Mm-hmm.
The only decision we need to make is how we're going to prepare for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. I love that.
And this is our freedom plan. Let me go back. We're always asking people, if you don't want to buy a policy, you may want to become a person that has the information to sell a policy.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 4 types of people in our particular lane. You got your entrepreneur like myself. I have a full-time job and a part-time job.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm really on this thing, I can possibly make this much money a month.
Mm-hmm.
So on and so forth. For a full-timer, you want to move up and you're like, Nisha, you're like, I'm done with these kids. I'm going to do my thing. And if you really own it, this is how much you can make. But I won't go through all of that. And for those people who are interested, who would like more information, you can text Just Smart to the number below. If you're interested in getting licensed, you want a quote, or you just want to find out how to spread the word to more of our people, more of our family members, in order for them to start planning for the next stage that a lot of us just don't want to talk about.
This is so good. This is great information, Rob.
Yes.
I'm blown away. Not only have you shared with us how to prepare for end of life, but you've also shared some jewels with us on how to live. How to live a better life and earn more, or just have resources to help. I mean, I wasn't knowledgeable about being able to use the policies toward things that come up currently, like medical bills or college tuition, things like that. I was not aware that was a possibility, that there are policies out there that exist like that. So thank you so much for sharing all this great information with us.
Yeah, I'm just glad to be able to, like I said, being a conduit of information, making sure that every person that I'm in contact with understands the values that are out here that we just don't take advantage of. And I know a lot of us grew up like, hey, there's this college fund. As soon as you graduate, you're good. And you're 16, 17, and that idea started to fade away because your parents started becoming really real with you. Like, you need to fill out this FAFSA. Apply for these scholarships. But the idea is there. We just didn't know what it really entailed about. And it's through life insurance. You buy this policy for your child when they're born. It's, let's say, I think a few weeks ago, I had another client. His daughter was like 4 years old. The policy 4 or 6, I think. $35 a month. It's locked in.
Mm-hmm.
$35.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't change when she becomes 20, 30 years old.
Wow.
It stays $35. So I tell my sons the same thing. Get it locked in now.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're my age, you can reap all the benefits for your children
That's right.
that I didn't prepare for.
Right.
Mm-hmm. 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 That's powerful. And that's the legacy. Earlier today, I mean, I love the phrasing, but I see it. I see the vision. That's the legacy.
Yes.
That's how you break generational curses.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you prevent bankruptcy.
That's it.
That's how, I, I don't know, I'm emotional. I'm grateful to, I feel like somebody just unveiled a mystery to me, seriously. And I'm really grateful that I'm so grateful you came on today. It's much more than, what I thought we would be talking about initially. So I love even the part at the end where we can have more people like you, like me, that can contact you and
Yes.
get licensed. And so this message and this information can be spread throughout our community. So I'm grateful for even being a little part of a bridge to that. I think that's powerful too.
Absolutely. Thank you.
This is
Like,
good.
yeah, because like I said, it's not the money
Mm-hmm.
behind the policies for me. It's
Mm-hmm.
the protection
Yes.
that you're able to give these families. And mostly, I'm an educator, so it's about the information.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, if I could just tell you, I'm like, hey, you get in the policy, make sure you talk to your person about A, B, and C,
Mm-hmm.
period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's what I was going to say, Rob, because you're in Houston, right? You're in Houston. I'm in California, in Los Angeles area. Nisha's in Grand Blanc in Michigan.
Right.
So if I'm in a state outside of Texas and I reach out to you, is there a way for you to get me connected with someone in my state, or can I work with you if I'm in California, or how does that work?
Oh, absolutely. I'm licensed, and my goal is to get licensed in all 50 states.
Okay.
So,
Come on now.
but yes, I can definitely assist any and everyone in receiving a quote, getting a policy started, no matter how big or how small. We
Mm-hmm.
just need to have something.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. So it's so good to know that, like, I think we've said on almost every episode, we're not the experts, right?
Surely we're not.
And so we are clearly trying to pull in those experts like Rob.
Mm-hmm.
He's licensed. He has went through the educational process to earn his license to be able to share this information with you. And listen, he said it best. He's not looking to make a whole lot of money off of this. He has a full-time job. you know, he's he's trying to get that information out there. But I also just think it's always a blessing to be a blessing. And so
Mm-hmm.
the fact that he's giving so much of his time and he's giving so much of his knowledge to share this information with us, we definitely encourage you. If you have questions, please reach out, and you'll see the information on the screen. But please reach out to Mr. Dantzler and learn more about how you can prepare not only for the final days, because I talked about that at the kickoff, but also how you can prepare to live, right? So
Yes.
there are some opportunities to become a licensed policy license with life insurance policies yourself. And so take advantage of those as well if that's something that interests you. So any last thoughts or any last jewels you want to share with us before we wrap up? I don't even want to wrap it up. I'm learning
Oh
something.
no.
We'll wrap it up today.
All I would say is continue to spread the word,
Mm-hmm.
continue to talk, do what you guys are doing, and just allowing our people, your followers, to find a place of healthy mental wellness.
Yeah.
You know, whether it is finding an outlet to positively express your feelings,
Mm-hmm.
or simply finding someone to share with, you know. And we have to be conscious of this too, that the person or the people that we share with, we can't just dump on them too much.
Right. Right.
You know, we have to save some of that their energy for somebody else too. And finally, plan for our futures. You know, plan for the next generation. You know, I tell my sons we would do a 5-year plan when they started middle school. Every year they would jot down what's their plan for this year, and then they have a 5-year plan, and then they would revisit it, you know, every semester. And my son does it now. He's 24, and he updates me on what the next phase of his life going to be in 5 years. You know, and it's just amazing the things that we do with them and how they continue it on. Whether it's good or bad, they're going to follow our lead and continue to be positive influences on the people around you. I love what you guys are doing, ladies. You are amazing.
Thank you.
I look forward to talking with y'all again.
Yes.
Absolutely. That is so good. 24, my goodness. Woo.
That's how old my eldest baby is, 24.
Yeah. You remember, Keisha.
Children in their 20s. Charles just turned 20. So,
yeah.
You have blessed us on today, sir. The wealth of knowledge you've shared on today, the information, also the conviction. Make sure that we have everything in order for our loved ones. I just appreciate you so much, Rob. Like I cannot thank you enough for coming on. And we are definitely going to have you back to share even more with us.
Yes.
Because I would love to hear more about the licensing part of it. I think that could be the whole episode by itself. So
truly,
I'd love to have you back on. Sister, anything for the family? Anything you got to share today?
No, I'm very grateful. I'm thinking ahead, like, okay, I need him to come and talk to my parents via Zoom at my parent meeting. You know, it's so many reasons why, but one reason is the way COVID did our school community. Yes. We had people losing parents and grandparents, and you saw GoFundMe's and things like that. And so I'm thinking, like, if we could get this to our parents, he's you know, we're all the way in Michigan, but we can Zoom in. We've got pretty good at that. We can Google Meet in, you know, but I'm thinking about my families. I truly am, my school families, and how they need this information too.
Absolutely.
That is, my mind is churning. Y'all probably see my eyeballs going all over the place because my mind is churning. Like, how do we get this information to more people in our communities? Yeah.
We continue this dialogue, to your point, sister. And Rob, we know you're busy, but listen, you started something. We're about to be knocking on your door and seeing how we can get you in front of different communities. I think our families need to hear this message.
Yes.
So again, I just thank you for joining us and being a part of this, what I would say, honestly, is just a calling that we're on right now, trying to answer a call and answer a need that we feel like is great in the community. So thank you so much. And thank all of you for joining us. Listen, we are not the experts. We do not have all the answers, but we are doing our best to bring in those folks who do and also share our experiences. And so we want you to have just a phenomenal week.
Yes.
And we'll definitely see you next week.
See you next week.
All right. Love y'all.
Thank you, Rob.
Love you too.